Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You know, I know we all got our doubts about the last election. And I want to assure you, I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities.
I don't think you do.
I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress. We'll hear the objections. We'll hear the evidence. But tomorrow is Georgia's day.
That's today. That's today. The runoff is today. 2 seats, 4 people. 2 will leave. And we'll know tonight, right? We have to know tonight. It's got to be tonight.
We're not going to get results tonight.
Aw, what?
We're not going to get results tonight, we don't expect. There are still all of those absentee ballots that still need to be counted. But state officials tell me, Republican state officials and Trump supporters, that they are very confident in the safety and security of this election.
No, it's impossible, because if the people that we want to win don't win, then we were cheated. Yesterday, after the phone call, it was interesting to see some of the comments and some of the hate. And some of the people going, you know, Chad, you made a good point there. I never thought of something like that. Like, what if Obama made a call like that, or Hillary made a call like that? And, well, what about, you know, the origins of Russia? And what about the you know, they spied on the campaign, and what about that? And yeah, I guess maybe he made some points there. That's all I was trying to do, people. That's it. I'm asking fair questions. Look, if you've got stuff, you bring it out. You show it. That's what happens. If you have stuff, you bring it out and you show it. What do you have? What do you have? Some of the stuff that Trump said last night, I was scratching my head. We had 36,000 people that were illegal voting in Arizona. Like, I'm like, wait, what? It's not true. It's not true. It's not. And if there's fraud everywhere, and remember, there's 2 things in this. There's 2 things. First, and you got to separate those. Trump. Secondly, election integrity. You're not going to find out everything that if all of this stuff is true. You're not going to find it out tomorrow. You're going to find it out 2 weeks from now. You're not going to find it out 10 weeks from now. It will take time to investigate deep if people are serious. But for so many people out there, this isn't about long-term election integrity. This is about Donald Trump. And it's tough for people to understand and separate it. Well, they said that you can't have the data. They've given them access to stuff. Well, they haven't given them enough. And Trump's only had 3 court cases. Yes, but there's been 50 plus filed on his behalf. And still nothing. Well, they only had a few hours to prepare because time was of the essence, by the way, and ask any lawyer worth their salt. They will tell you, you come prepared. There's always an excuse. Were there some stuffs and some irregularities? When isn't there an issue? Every year, go back 4 years. There were issues, people talking about voter suppression, and these people are in line, and these people did that, and there were magic ballots here, and then I will guarantee you it 2 years from now. Tonight, by the way, let me say, put this on the record. When all is said and done, and it's not going to be tonight when everything's said and done. It may not even be tomorrow. It probably will be late tomorrow, unless there's an absolute blowout, and I don't know if there will be. Or Thursday, when we really see the dust settle for both. You're going to have complaints. You're going to have maybe some challenges. And if both Republicans lose, oh my God, all bets are off. People are in on it. It's hard to have a conversation with people who are sold that this is it. And it's funny listening to Trump talk about some of this stuff as if it's just matter of fact. hey, we didn't lose Georgia. It's impossible.
Hello, Georgia. By the way, there's no way we lost Georgia. There's no way. That was a rigged election, but we're still fighting it, and you'll see what's going to happen. We'll talk about it. And, Biden was here today also. They had 14 people in 3 cars. No, there was no way. And I just want to thank you. I've had 2 elections. I won both of them. It's amazing.
I won both. He will never concede. He will never. And by the way, he won every state.
It's a biggie. The whole world is watching the people of Georgia tomorrow. And you got to swamp them because everything's so crooked around. I mean, not here. They were saying, oh, he's complaining about Georgia. No, I'm complaining about 8 different states. And I think we're going to win them all.
But what if you don't? And I asked the people out there, if the 20th of January, all right? So the 20th of January, that is 15 days from now, 2 weeks from tomorrow. If Biden is the president, then what? Can't have a conversation with people anymore. No, Chad, you don't know. Tomorrow, this changes everything. The 6th changes everything. And then if that doesn't work, Trump's going to declare martial law. I'm like, wait, what? He's going to declare martial law? And you're okay with that? Over unproven facts that haven't even been really played out for him in a way that, look, I'll see some of the evidence if you've got it. Not, oh, we got 500 affidavits from people who were kind of there, maybe they're not there. It's crazy. It is. And did this hurt the Republicans there? Did this hurt the Republicans there? Loeffler and Perdue, did this hurt them against Warnock and Ossoff? Did it? It might have. Because when you have people that are saying things like,
hello, Georgia, by the way.
Oops, not that. That's Trump guy. This guy.
Many of us Georgians have lost faith in trusting the electoral process in our state, which as a Georgian, I never thought would happen.
If you have people that don't believe that they can get a fair election, so you going to come out and vote? Nah, probably not. Okay. Who do you think that hurts? That ain't hurting the Democrats. It didn't. It didn't hurt the Democrats at all. So do I think that this thing is going to be, I would not be surprised if the Democrats win both. I would not. The rhetoric, the chaos, the craziness, and the fact that let's take all that away. Both of them haven't really run a good campaign. Perdue didn't show up at the debate. And so Ossoff was the only one there. And Loeffler, she's been all over the place, and she's got some questions that need to be answered. So does Warnock. So does Ossoff. Both super lefties. But at the end of the day, what happens? I'll tell you what happens. Now, everybody who ever loses has, I was cheated. What happened? I was cheated. You were? Yeah. Yeah, it's the machines. It's always the machines.
Going to come out, and all the fraudulent people that have been doing the fraudulent things with the Dominion voting booths and everything, it's going to come out, and they're going to get their payback.
Really? So that's what's going to happen. But what if it doesn't? Because when you're trying to talk to people and have a conversation, who, by the way, I'm always up for a good conversation. I got zero problems with good conversations. I'm totally fine. Let's have a talk. Let's have a conversation. And it's not about, I don't want to get into a fight. That ain't what I'm about, because that doesn't get us anywhere. I don't want emotion in it. Let's have a conversation. You give them one thing. And it's like, well, what about this? Okay. And then you go, well, that's been, disproven. Well, no, Chad. Well, what about, no. This is what's going to happen. No, Chad, you don't understand. I've heard from somebody. Okay. So you've heard from somebody. Where's your proof? Here's my proof. He says it's this way. Okay. Where's the proof though? Well, no, we got the proof. It's coming. Well, why hasn't it been out there? Well, the media won't cover it. No, the media will. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about what I know about the media, the news media in general. If you have a chance to break a story that would make your career, you're going to do it. It's crazy. The thing that is boggled my mind is the fact that nobody's thought to themselves, well, maybe Trump isn't telling the whole truth. Maybe there's a lot of stuff in here that isn't real. Maybe this is a lot of baloney. Maybe there isn't the Kraken. Maybe a lot of this stuff is a bunch of BS and he's kind of a sore loser. Nobody questions their side. And we need more questioning. I love my son. I question him harder. I hold him more accountable. We need to start doing that. We don't do it. We don't do it enough. We should question both sides. People ask me all the time, Chad, why don't you pick a side? I pick a side of truth. I pick a side of truth. I'm an independent because I think both sides have some good and I think both sides have some bad. We need to start looking and holding people more accountable for some of the things they say, some of the actions, and it goes on both sides. But also what we need to start holding accountable is each other when it comes to the truth and being able to say, hey, I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking your thought on this, if you will, and whether or not it's true or false. I'm always willing to listen. It's going to be interesting, and this will be a big deal. For those of you not keeping score, this is probably more important than the presidency. Oh, it's impossible. No, it is. It's possible, because I still think Biden's going to beat the president on the 20th. And let me tell you guys this. If they win these two seats, the Democrats, they have it all. House, the Senate, and the presidency. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. That is the text line. It comes directly to me, 323-538-2423. It comes directly to me. I'm the one that answers those. Same thing with Twitter and the Instagram as well. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love them. Use them all the time. Got my Raycons today. I'm going to go play soccer. Yesterday I boxed. Today it's soccer day. Going to go run around for about 45 minutes to an hour. I already know. And by the way, I used my Raycons yesterday, and I used them the day before that, hitting a few golf balls. And let me tell you, I haven't charged them. I still have about 3 hours of listen time. I'm going to roll out there and do that. Noise isolating fit, the best feel that you will find in any earbuds, period, case closed, half the price of other premium earbuds. You will love yours. Stylish, cool, no stems, no wires. Get yours now. Save an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here. Just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Actress Tayna Roberts, best known for roles as the Bond girl in 1985's A View to a Kill in That 70s Show, was confirmed dead Sunday by her publicist, Mike Pingle, who put out a statement saying Roberts had died in the hospital after collapsing while walking her dogs Christmas Eve in Los Angeles. Now Pingle says he was told by Roberts' husband that she had died, but that wasn't in fact the case. Her husband, Lance O'Brien, now says he was called Monday by the hospital and told Roberts is alive, in the ICU, but in dire condition. It's not exactly clear how the mistake was made.
So yesterday, Tayna Roberts had died. Actress. She was a Bond girl. She was a Bond lady. On top of being a Bond lady, she was in Beastmaster, a great movie. Several other movies. She was the last year, I think she was one of the last Charlie's Angels. She was a lot of things. She went out walking on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and apparently she got home. She's 65. She collapsed. Then she died, but then she didn't die. And then she was fine, and then she wasn't fine, and her husband doesn't know, but kind of knows. I don't think any of us know. What I do think we know is yesterday, erroneously, but maybe not erroneously, because we can only go on the facts that we were given to us, that she was dead. Now she's not dead. But she may not be in a situation where she will survive. I don't know. You know who did survive? Larry King. Larry King is alive. Not well. All right? Not well, but better. He was in ICU. He is 87 years old. He's got COVID-19, which seems like so 2 years ago. He is in ICU. Then he gets a little bit better. Now they've moved him out of ICU at 87. Think about that. 87. He's wearing the suspenders. He's got it all going on. And there he is, still alive, still kicking, ready to get married again. Ready to get married again. Had a phone call with his kids, Larry Jr., Cannon, and Chance. So, out of there, he said he was sick for 10 days before eventually having to go to the hospital on New Year's Eve. He was receiving oxygen before that. But you never know. He said last year, hey, I'm 86. It is what it is. I just want to keep working until the end. I'd like to die at work. I'll retire right there, he said. How about that? Larry King still alive. Tayna Roberts, yes, no, maybe, probably. Welcome to the weird world of 2021. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Will we get the results tonight, tomorrow? Nah. Will there be challenges? That's the other side of things. So there's going to be challenges in these runoffs where you're going to have, you're going to have recounts because they're probably going to be very close. They were close before, and you're going to have some recounts. And you may, if the Republicans lose, is there going to be lawsuits? Probably. So this may take a bit as well. Welcome to the world of first we vote, then we sue, then we wait. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Georgia, big. Everybody's watching you guys because we all know you're a bunch of cheaters. No, they're not. Well, you know, they have to be, right? Because Trump didn't win, so they have to be cheaters. They cheated because Trump didn't win. They cheated. That's what it is. So how do we know that this is going to be real today? I mean, is anybody even voting?
Republicans only need to hold on to one of the two Senate seats that are up for election to maintain control of the U.S. Senate. Some 3 million voters in Georgia have already cast ballots in this election. That is down from this same point during the general election, but the highest ever for a runoff. And most of those votes are coming from blue counties.
Oh, no. Let's not forget Linwood and a bunch of these other people that have gone out there in this big, important runoff. Because think about this. 2 runoffs today. If Perdue or Loeffler win 1, that's all. Those are the Republican candidates. They beat Ossoff and Warnock. They only need 1. They hold on to the Senate. If they lose both, it's a tie. Tie goes to the runner being Biden, because who's the president of the Senate would be the vice president, Kamala Harris. She could break the tie, meaning they have everything. They have it all. We need balance. We work best when there's balance in this country. I know people hate that. They want to have one-party rule, whether it's blue or red. We need balance. And the reason, founding fathers talked about the fact over and over again. After our founding fathers, politicians we talk about who are now evil, but before we thought they were wise, before we got woke, talked about the fact that you give one side so much power, they will abuse the power. We don't want that. We need balance. There's nothing wrong with balance. Well, Chad, we don't have, because it's not balance 50-50. It's always going to tip in a direction or another direction. But what it's really about is stopping one side from running amok. That's what it's about. So we'll see. We will see what takes place. We will see if the rhetoric has hurt the Republicans, where they decide not to come out, which is always a possibility, because they don't believe the system is fair. They think it's rigged. So why should I vote in something I know is rigged? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Want to hear from all of you. All that being said, coronavirus still very real, still out there. Has it been, as we've talked about it, and we'll continue to talk about it on the show, has it been overhyped? Absolutely. When you dig down in the numbers, you can start to see, okay, man, a lot of these deaths, well over 65, a lot of them much older than that. In saying that, we need to get ourselves on a path to getting our lives back. We need it. It's what the country needs. We have kids who aren't in school. They need to be in school. My son, God bless, I love the fact that he's able to spend so much time out here with me. It is amazing. I hate the fact that he struggles. I hate the fact that going to school for him is miserable. He misses his friends. He misses activities. I see him struggle that day to day. We need to get ourselves back. We do. It's an absolute must. Now, all that being said, how are we going to do that if some people aren't going to take the vaccine? You have a lot of hospital staffs that may not take the vaccine. Then you've got this new coronavirus that is here. Is it going to withstand the vaccine? Is it something that is just another strain of it, but it's not really anything that is going to cause the vaccine not to be worth anything when it comes to this? I don't know.
Experts say another variant first detected in South Africa may spread even more easily. Dr. Baruch calls it a race against time.
The emergence of the new variants increases the need for a rapid vaccine rollout, a rapid vaccine campaign in the United States and throughout the world, and also it increases the importance of public health measures.
And Dr. Baruch says the U.S. should be doing more testing for COVID variants because he says early detection of a new variant is key.
Yeah, everything's always key. Get to it early. I get that. We've got to figure that out. There's, even testing. Testing is a bit of a joke. And my state, so I'm here in Arizona. We are the worst in the world, just to let you guys know that. If all things were equal, meaning every state, every country, we all have the same amount of people, we are number one in the world for positivity rates. Think about that. We're number one. Now, we've not shut anything down. We've limited stuff, but we've not destroyed our economy. And I talk to people on a daily basis that they've lost a lot of stuff. And I've also talked to people that have said, hey, we learned to adapt. We've done some different things. But California is a perfect example, which California has been as locked down as possible. And now the pushback's coming where people are like, you know what? You told us 2 weeks. We gave you 2 weeks. Then you told us we needed another 2 weeks. We gave you 2 more weeks. Here we are 9-10 months into it. You've shut everything down. When you open stuff up, you tell us, hey, you can open up, but you got to do this. Then we go and do that. And you're like, well, we're going to close it down. Where's your science? Well, we don't really have the science for that. But we're closing you down because as politicians, they're going to say, we're trying to save lives. By destroying lives, it goes back to the personal responsibility again, kids. Got to have some personal responsibility. Got to take some. Well, what if other people don't? You don't worry about other people. You do you. Whether you get the vaccine or don't, you do you. You follow the guidelines that are out there. And I hear, oh, Chad, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to wear a mask either. I almost walked in. I went to Tractor Supply the other day. What are you doing there, Chad? First of all, let me tell you guys, I'm not handy. I'm going to say, producer Phil, extremely handy. Every weekend, he's under a sink, he's building something, he's doing stuff like that, right? He's doing all of these things. I see it. Me? No. Can I hire somebody? But I was going in there because Jack wants to get a new little dirt. We were going to get him a mini bike, but they didn't. They just sold their last mini bike because he's really into motocross and he wanted a bike he could zip around on. But I got all the way. I walked like 50 yards because I parked far away so I can walk. And I hate the fact that I got to the door and I'm like, oh, son of a bat. Got to go get my mask. I don't want to wear a mask either. But it says on their door, you have to wear a mask. It sucks. It does. We need to start realizing, yes, the cure can't be worse than the disease. We need to have some personal responsibility. This rollout didn't go as was planned, and it's still kind of floundering at times. How do we go from point A to point B? When can we get there? And then when we go from point B to point C and beyond. I know when normality is coming back. For some states, I think you're going to see some normal way of life by the middle of the summer. For other states, you may be locked down through the year, off and on. But the most important thing is we roll this thing out. We start making sure the testing is available, the antibody testing as well, because this is something else. I didn't have any symptoms or signs, but I went and got the antibody test. You were asymptomatic. I was. You must have spread it. Actually, go look at the World Health Organization and several other places that said asymptomatics really don't spread it like that. Pre-symptomatics could be big spreaders. So there's a lot of different things going on, but we need to get back. We need this. Last year was chaos and craziness, something we hadn't been through, but we started living with it for a bit, and then we allowed it to grab a hold of us again because we have poor government and city planners and people who are trying to run some of these things. In other places, they're a little bit more free. But you look at a place like Arizona compared to a place like California. California's numbers are through the roof. They're rationing paramedics and ambulance calls. People are afraid to go to the hospital if think they're having a stroke or a heart attack. That's insane. That is insane. My God. Jim, what's wrong? You're having a heart attack? Oh, you don't want to go to the hospital? I'll take you to a dentist. Nuts. Welcome to the world of chaos and craziness. We need to, as individuals, start taking more personal responsibility, but also demanding in a way where we start to get back to our life. And it's got to be nationwide. And it starts with, first and foremost, to me, the teachers. Because I think once teachers can get this vaccine, get themselves back in the classroom, that will free up a lot of opportunity for people to start getting back out there. Because parents, you know this as well as I. Here's a perfect example here in Arizona. We decided, not all school districts, but they decided 4 days before kids were supposed to go back to the classroom that maybe all the schools should be closed. If you're a parent, how do you deal with that? I'm a parent. I was like, are you kidding me? That's the frustration. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. UFOs, I keep talking about them. Look, if we're going to have conspiracy theory, I want to have some fun stuff. All right? Lizard people, UFOs. Dominion? I don't care. Lizard people, UFOs. Far more important to me. We'll talk about it straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad, headed your way.
It's not important to me that there is a change. I mean, I'm in public health and just people are dying.
So voter flew back to vote in the Georgia runoff. Oh, that person's out of state. I think the person was a nurse, like a traveling nurse. So, yeah, some of the stuff, like when it comes to, 50 million people voted and there's only 40 million people that live there. And you're like, that's not even true. Well, I heard it was true. What's the other day? Trump tweeted out something about Raffensperger, who's the Secretary of State. His brother, Ron, working for a Chinese tech company. Trump tweeted it out. He doesn't have a brother named Ron who works for a Chinese tech. He has 2 sisters, I think, and maybe a brother, something like. But the guy had the same last name as him, and then Trump's like ran with it. There's no checking. It's like, that's got to be true. It's just totally got to be true. Chad, you sound like you mean it. No, I'm just look. You want to hold people accountable, and if you're afraid to hold people accountable, that's insane. That is insane. You should want to, if you're a Trump supporter, if you're a Republican, you want to hold your side accountable and be hard on them the same way that you would like to see the left do it, and they don't. Let's be real. Neither side does it. This isn't a right or left thing. This is everybody. It's like your kid. Everybody's kid is, my kid didn't do it. I'm like, my kid probably did. I know my kid. So we don't do that anymore, though. This is why would we do that? I posted a poll about which one do you think is more likely? Aliens or the election was rigged? Right now, it's early on, 22% aliens, 55% of the election were rigged. And then it's about 11% each for both or neither. So take the poll at Chad Benson Show. Speaking of aliens.
Officials from the Federal Aviation Administration say there were no aircraft incidents or accidents in this area Tuesday night, but multiple witnesses report seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean.
Something is in the sky. What is that?
This video was taken by Misitina Sape. Not long after, a woman named Mariah spotted the same thing.
I look up, and then I was like, oh,
there's something in the sky. What is it? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it a rigged election? Is it a Dominion machine on fire? Or is it an alien?
so look up there. See what I see.
The 38-year-old says she's never really been a believer in UFOs, but the bright blue object had them so intrigued, they jumped in the car and started following it.
I don't know what it was. This one was going so fast.
The journey ended less than 3 miles from where it began after the object appeared to drop into the ocean.
Oh, the land in the water, whatever it is.
What? Yeah, landed in the water. Oh, are you serious? Yeah. There's a lot of that. Look, we know more about space above us than we do about the ocean that's on our planet. Our ocean is full of mysterious stuff. If you were going to come here and you're an alien, you go to 2 places if you don't want to be discovered. You go to somewhere in the deep south, and there was some sort of crash landing or something over there in West Virginia. Why? Nobody's going to believe people from West Virginia. They're just not. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying it's easy for people to go, nobody who believes that. Or you go to the ocean. There's nobody, who's going to talk about it? Is Aquaman going to talk? No, Aquaman's going to talk about it.
She described it as being larger than a telephone pole and says she never heard it make any sound.
We called 911.
While officers were on scene, she says they spotted a second light.
My husband went look up, and he seen the white one coming. The white one was smaller, was coming in the same direction as the blue one.
They lost sight of the object after it passed over a nearby mountain.
It's pretty interesting to watch. It's a trip. There's something there. What is it? Not saying it's aliens, not saying it's spacemen. You know what's funny if an alien did land here and you go, you guys are always talking about little green men. We're like 8'4". Well, we're not green. No, you're really not. But could it have been something? Of course. And a UFO doesn't mean it's an alien. It's an unidentified flying object. It means we see an object, it's flying, it's unidentified. But this was just a really trippy thing.
Meanwhile, officials from the FAA said they received a report from police Tuesday night about a possible plane down in the area, but had no aircraft disappear off radars and no reports of overdue or missing aircraft. Although Mariah's had a couple days to think about it, she says she's still baffled by what she saw.
To this day, I don't know. If you guys can find out what it was.
It's interesting. It is. Speaking of Hawaii, New York man, this is awesome. He is suing the makers of King's Hawaiian Sweet Rolls, which, by the way, are heaven. Robert Galinsky of Yonkers said in his lawsuit against King's Hawaiians that the packaging prominently features "Hello Hawaii" on the front, but the back reveals they're actually made in Torrance, California. So apparently the bakery was in Hilo was invented and put together by a guy that was from there in the 50s. And then he expanded it to Honolulu and then eventually closed to Torrance. So somebody's suing because it says Hawaiian rolls when they're not made in Hawaii, which is bizarre. Welcome to the world of lawsuits. Hawaii's got all kinds of stuff going on over there. Plus, right now, if you could travel, beautiful and the price is right. It's cheap. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
One state can chart the course, not just for the next 4 years, but for the next generation. By electing John and the Reverend, you can make an immediate difference in your own lives, the lives of the people all across this country, because their election will put an end to the block in Washington, that $2,000 stimulus check, that money that will go out the door immediately.
Oh, my God, Biden. What are you doing? You're not even president yet? He's never going to be president, Chad. It was a rigged election. So is today's election going to be fair? If both Republicans win, think about this for a second. What if both Republicans win today? Which won't, we won't know the results. I think we realize that. The chances of us finding out at least both results are probably slim to none.
We're not going to get results tonight, we don't expect. There are still all of those absentee ballots that still need to be counted. But state officials tell me, Republican state officials and Trump supporters, that they are very confident in the safety and security of this election.
What if both of them win? I'm just curious. If both of them win, how is that not rigged? Because they've overcome the system. This is huge today. The minute the last election was pretending to be over, because we know it's not over, even though it is over, but we're pretending that it's still not over. I said this runoff, these two things are so important. These two runoffs. You only need to split. You don't need to win both. You need to win one if you're the Republicans. Think macro, not micro. If you're Ossoff or Warnock, you try to win both. If you're the Republicans, you don't care which one of them wins as long as one does. Now, if you're Perdue or Loeffler, you But on the outside looking in, if you're not in Georgia, if you're not in this state, you don't care which one wins, just one does. Because if they lose both, I'm here to tell you guys, President Biden, Vice President Harris, Congress would be, the House? Well, the House is Nancy, but it would be 50-50 in the Senate. Oh, who breaks the tie? Oh, she does. Mm-hmm. Meaning all three. As far as you still got the Supreme Court, but everybody is telling me now that is also rigged. So I don't even know if that's true. This deep state is way deeper than I thought. First I thought, I got some of it on my shoe. But now, we're up to our eyeballs in it. So think about that. Now, who do I think will win? If I had to put money on there, it's not people keep talking to me, Chad, you have no idea that Biden will not be president on the 20th. I say, would you willing to bet your house? Are you willing to bet your home? What makes you nervous? You willing to bet that? Are you willing to bet what makes you nervous? We'll talk about that. I couldn't tell you today. My gut feeling is the Republicans lose both.
Republicans only need to hold on to one of the 2 Senate seats that are up for election to maintain control of the U.S. Senate. Some 3 million voters in Georgia have already cast ballots in this election. That is down from this same point during the general election, but the highest ever for a runoff. And most of those votes are coming from blue counties,
which we expect early on. And that's what happened in the election. Most of the stuff came from blue counties early. Right? Most of them did. They came from blue counties early, but the day of tends to go towards Republicans. But this is big. Do you think President's call and the rhetoric towards Georgia has helped or hurt the Republicans in Georgia?
Many of us Georgians have lost faith in trusting the electoral process in our state, which as a Georgian, I never thought would happen.
That's not good. I think what's going to happen today is you might see a lot of Republicans say, well, you know, even though Trump was out there last night and he was out there, he you know, you listen to him and as much as, I'm challenging all the states. It's not just Georgia. You may go there to rally. People were there to see last night. They don't care about Purdue, and they didn't care about Loft, right? They came to see Trump. And they feel that the election was stolen because of dirty deeds done dirt cheap. And because of that, I think you're going to see a lot of people sit on the sidelines.
Hello, Georgia. By the way, there's no way we lost Georgia. There's no way. That was a rigged election, but we're still fighting it, and you'll see what's going to happen. We'll talk about it. And, you know, Biden was here today also. They had 14 people in 3 cars. No, there was no way. And I just want to thank you. You know, I've had 2 elections. I won both of them. It's amazing.
Actually, I've won every election ever in the history of ever. You got to prove it in court. You haven't done it so far. You haven't done it so far. Tonight will be interesting. I don't think we'll know. We may know one by tomorrow. I don't know if we'll know both. And then you have to step back and say, okay, if the Republicans win both, is there lawsuits coming from the left? If the Republicans, you know, lose both, are they going to sue? Is there going to be, I mean, we're at that point now where anything close will always be contested in some way, shape, or form with courts and lawsuits and conspiracies. I tweeted something out earlier. Chad, you're being a smart aleck. No, I'm telling you guys this. I asked the question. I think it's very fair. What do you think is more likely? Visitors from another world, aliens, or the election was rigged? 37.5% to 37.5%, it was between aliens and it was rigged. Both 17.5%, neither 7.5%. And of course, when you do something like when you throw that out there, people see that as, oh, you don't care. No, I do care. Well, they've got thousands of eyewitnesses. I said, which? So there's thousands of eyewitnesses to aliens. Is there not? Almost everybody's seen something they can't explain in the sky. But there has been thousands upon thousands of people who have recorded things that, quite frankly, don't make any sense in the sky. And some of those people are nuts. And some of those people are, well, you know, they got something there that's real. But it's the attack that I get. You know what? I'm at the point now where I enjoy poking both sides. Well, Chad, you're irrelevant. That's what one guy just said. You're irrelevant. I am irrelevant. I'm absolutely irrelevant to everybody but my family and my friends. I will never be anything more than that, and that's totally cool with me. But knowing that you're that angry about something shows me that you're living on emotion. You're not living in reality at this point in time. And that is clouding your judgment. And that you're going to continue to, no matter what happens. I said to my uncle, who, Trump she's been robbed. And he and I are best friends. I love the arguments we get into. And Paul's an ultimate troll. And he's like, look, I don't care about Trump. I care about the election integrity. But he feels he was robbed. And I'm like, well, I just like to see it. Well, they're proving it out. They're really not proving it out. But my whole point is he too gets lost in the emotion of it. And he's at the point now where an election to him should be, you go door to door, you find everybody that's there, you have people from both sides to signature, verify, like take a picture. It's like a year process kind of thing. Nothing will ever be good enough for some people. And for people who lose, they're always looking for an excuse. They're looking for some sort of excuse. And for some people, it's like, dude, we were just beat. We're just beat. Happens. For other people, there's got to be a reason. And sometimes, rather than saying, did I have a part to play in this? Was I the reason? Maybe people stand back and say, no, it wasn't me. It was everybody else. And they stole it from me. Got to prove it out. Got to prove it out. By the way, he also said, I'm the worst. I'm like, the worst what? You're the worst human. Have you met everybody? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. And the minute you lose your sense of humor, I said this about the left, and I'll say it about you on the right, to both sides of the aisle. When you lose your sense of humor, that's the start of the slope that gets very slippery. Can't lose your sense of humor. Don't do it. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing organization for people over 50. You want great benefits? They got tons of them. You want an organization that's fighting for your rights, for things like your Second Amendment, your First Amendment rights? They're out there doing that. Pennies a day to join. Going to treat you amazing. And when we get out of this chaos and craziness of COVID and you're able to travel, you're able to go places and do things, their benefits are through the roof. And I'm telling you, take advantage of that. Going to those movies, some places up to 50% off movie tickets. What? That's incredible. Join today. Go to amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? All right, let's talk about the things that are trending, people. Let's start over in the Twitter land where people are fighting and angry, mostly at me. So apparently I'm a jerk. I'm a big jerk face. TurboTax, IRS, H&R Block, trending. Why? It's trending also on Google. Because apparently, if you use that service, that's where your second payment will be going. So if you get a temporary, I don't know how that works. That went straight into your account. But now they've got to get my payment tool that you can open up and take a look at. So it's very interesting because for some people, they're upset. It's not going to be direct deposit. The way it may go into a secondary account, it's very confusing. But people are very frustrated with H&R Block, the IRS, and TurboTax, which I don't think you should be. Not them. It's not them, kids. It's not. Also, Josh Hawley trending. People are asking questions about him sacrificing democracy on the altar of his, I guess, presidential ambitions, maybe his love of Trump. He's trending all over the place. Slack yesterday, still 200,000. If you guys don't know what Slack is, it's just yesterday, much to a smaller extent. But when some of these things go down, because we use Slack here for my businesses, and they go down, and it just caused chaos. And as great as technology is, sometimes when something like that, when just one little piece of the puzzle goes sideways, whoo, it gets ugly fast. Very fast. Oh, my Lord. Head on over to Twitter, find some more craziness. Joe Judge, who is the coach of the New York Giants, was apoplectic over the way that the Washington unnamed team, gender-neutral named team, won their game against the Eagles. Because while the game was still close, Eagles chose not to kick a field goal to tie the game, not to try an extra long field goal again. And then in the fourth quarter, by the looks of it, the Eagles decided, hey, now's the time to put our third-string backup quarterback, who also doubles as the equipment guy, into the game. And the Giants were pissed. And by the way, some of the Eagles were pissed. Here's what I have to say to that. Win your games. You were 6-10. By the way, the Washington team, in reality, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs either. Somebody had to win that division. Washington happened to do it. And Washington went through a ton of bad stuff. They lost. Well, they had a quarterback. It really wasn't a quarterback. Then they lost their other quarterback. Then their quarterback of yesteryear, who is easily the comeback player of the year in the NFL, Alex Smith. And by the way, if you've not seen his story, know this. He had 17 surgeries in 9 months. After his injury, the thought process for a while was, I hope he lives. Then it was, I hope they don't have to amputate. Then it was, maybe he'll walk again. I don't think there was a lot of thought about him playing in the NFL again. So, but you got nobody to blame. It's like everything, man. Everybody's looking for somebody to blame. It's a perfect example. You guys were 6-10. You don't deserve the playoffs. Well, the other team should have done more to help us get in the playoffs. They don't owe you anything. It's like what's going on in our electoral system. Well, the other team cheated or they didn't do enough. It is amazing, the chaos. Everybody's got to blame somebody else. Maybe you could stand up there and say, you know what, we were 6-10. The reality is it would have been nice to get in the playoffs because we'd had another week to work out before the Buccaneers came here and throttled us. But the reality is we didn't deserve to get in the playoffs. Playoffs? No. People they can't lose gracefully. I don't. You could be pissed at losing. I had no problems with that. Same thing with Trump. You could be upset, but when you do your post-mortem, there's never a thought that maybe you had something to do with it, right? Hillary, you didn't lose because you were a woman. You lost because you were a bad candidate. You were always looking for who could I blame for the reason I lost, rather than going, you know what, maybe it was me. Maybe I'm the problem in that situation. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Purchase data from media research firm CMAG shows the candidates, party committees, and outside political groups combined have spent more than $514 million on ads. Looking at just candidates and party committees, Democrats are outspending Republicans $117 million compared to $111.5 million. But from outside spending, Republicans spent 3 times more than Democrats. Looking at just after the election, GOP outside groups have poured in $168 million on ad spending compared to $58 million for Democratic outside groups.
Yeah, it's important, Georgia, today. It's important. Very important. And the money is huge. It is. And people notice that.
They're spending a lot of money. Every time I get on YouTube, I see John Ossoff. That guy is all over social media. And when I go in my mailbox, they're spending a lot of money there too. Raphael Warnock and John, they're campaigning really hard. So I bet it'll be a very tight race.
So you got Warnock versus Loeffler. You have Ossoff versus Perdue. This is for the Senate. This will decide essentially so much of the control. You'll have a dead heat in the Senate, which will be broken by Kamala Harris. Chad, that's if Biden's president. Well, I'm going to go with when Biden's sworn in and he's president, that's what you would have if the Democrats win both. If it is a split, Mitch McConnell maintains control and the Republicans have the Senate. Now, the one thing that nobody's really talking about is the little secret that's not so much a secret unless you follow politics in the Senate, and that's Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin has managed to hold on to power in West Virginia, a very red state, by being a Democrat. But he's a very conservative Democrat in a lot of ways. He's a very conservative Democrat. He doesn't go along for a lot of this chaos and craziness and this uber progressive, let's do that. He doesn't buy into a lot of that stuff. He didn't play, that's not it, because he's got to walk a line that's very fine. He does enough to continue to keep some of the people over there in the Senate happy on the Democratic side, but he also knows I got to go back and answer to people in my state who, for the most part, are pretty conservative. So that's their one hidden little secret that's hidden in plain sight, and everybody knows that. But if you're the Republicans, you cannot leave it up to Manchin to help you out. You better figure out how you win one of these races. Who do I think has the best shot? I think Perdue has a pretty good shot. It's just hard to say because you throw in the mix all of the chaos and craziness with Trump, and it was rigged and it was stolen, and then the phone call. And did you listen? I listened to all 62 minutes of the phone call, and it was, why is the lawyers there? Well, I'll tell you why the lawyers are there. First and foremost, Trump is suing Ravensburger in Georgia, and they filed a lawsuit yesterday, another one. So there are lawsuits out there, and apparently they called some 15 or 20 times before they finally took it. So you have your attorney there, and most attorneys I talked to said, yeah, you don't take that phone call. In real life, it's the president. You're making a phone call. You're probably going to take a call from the president. So you've had Lynn Wood. People say, who's Lynn Wood? Well, let me tell you. The prominence of Lynn Wood here nationally maybe not be as huge. Some people might recognize him, but in Georgia, he's a big deal, and he's telling people, "Don't come out and vote. It's rigged. You Republicans stay home. Don't come out and vote. They stole it from Trump." They're going to say that doesn't help. That does not help. I think if they lose both tonight, the Republicans, people are going to, I don't care what the results are late tonight, early tomorrow, until it's truly certified, until they're sworn in, until the checks are cashed. You're going to see, I have a feeling, potentially some lawsuits and a lot of different things that are going to go on between now and then. Other challenges. I mean, it's sad that we're at that point, but we are at that point now. And Georgia is the eye of the world's looking at Georgia. And I mean that because people around the globe are looking to see what's going to happen. Not just with Trump, but with this, because they understand that if the Democrats win, that gives them more freedom to do some stuff that may benefit some people, and for other countries, it may not benefit them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of Biden, will he or won't he be president?
Joe Biden will be confirmed. His electoral votes will be confirmed in the House and in the Senate. But this is not unusual either. Let's remember the Democrat members of the House objected in 2000, objected in 2004, objected in 2016. The thing that matters the most is the reason it will go nowhere is because there's been no evidence of widespread fraud, and that's been determined by Republican and Democratic governors across the country. It's been determined, most importantly, by the Republican Attorney General of the United States, Bill Barr, who no one could say has not been a loyal fighter for the president.
Well, that's because it's deep state. That's what I got yesterday. So Bill Barr's deep state. John Roberts is deep state. The three people that Trump has put in now, there's a very good chance those two have been compromised. That's what people were telling me yesterday. That's why they won't hear him in the Supreme Court. And I started laughing. And I said to myself, don't engage. But every once in a while, you just kind of want to engage some of these people. And I said, so you really think that? And he goes, I know it to be true. Okay, so you know it to be true. Then if that's the truth, then essentially we need somebody who's a better picker. What is that supposed to mean? Well, if you pick people and those people turn out to be bad apples, maybe you shouldn't get a pick anymore. It's the way it works in sports, right? You're a GM. Maybe you get a few drafts. But if your drafts suck and your free agents suck, eventually they're going to go, yeah, you've assembled a crap team. Maybe it's you. That's always the it's deep state. If there's deep state like that, you're not going to stop it. If you really think that. But Chad, look at all of these things that are going on. Look at all of these things that are happening. Look at all of these things that have been unproven. This is Gabriel Sterling, Republican, voting operations manager yesterday. Beyond pissed off. Brought up charts, brought up all kinds of things, trying to debunk everything so people would understand that's not true.
There is no shredding of ballots going on. That's not real. It's not happening. There's shredding of envelopes that were the non-used ones, or there's also shredding of the secrecy envelopes that came through. We saw some of those in the Senate hearing, and it's obvious that they're the secrecy envelopes, which have no evidentiary value because there's no signature on it. There's no way to match it back. They're just basically trash. This is what I don't fully understand. No one is changing parts or pieces out of Dominion voting machines. The president mentioned on the call from 2 days ago, again, not real. I don't even know how exactly to explain that. That's not a real, I don't even know what that means. It's not a real thing.
No, it has to be real. It's totally real.
Potential hacking of Dominion equipment during a Senate hearing last week. That did not happen either. First of all, ballot marking devices and scanners, neither one have modems. It's very hard to hack things without modems. There's nothing to talk to. The poll pads, which is a no-ink device, does have the ability to connect to Wi-Fi, which we use it for loading purposes and in case there's an issue on election day, but they are not hooked up live all the time. It's essentially, if they did this, which we have no proof of, we have claim after claim after claim with zero proof. Zero.
Well, give them all the machines and they'll find proof. What? That was it. Give us the Dominion voting machines. And we'll find the proof. Well, what about independent outside people? So I said, let me ask you guys this question. So Trump, these are Republicans. They're not Republicans, Chad. I said, so wait, okay, so they're not Republicans. They're voted in by, even though they say they're Republicans, they're not Republicans. They were voted in by the people of Georgia. They were entrusted with doing this job. So, Raffensperger, and then he hires people and they bring people in, and they were entrusted to do this job. But it was only to make sure that Trump lost? Yeah, the Dominion machine totally did it.
Let's just go to the other ridiculous claims that Dominion voting machines are somehow using fractional voting or flipping votes. Again, by doing the hand tally, it shows none of that is true. Not a whit. And let's go back to the overall claims about Dominion voting systems in general. If you look in Wisconsin, they're claiming Wisconsin was stolen through Dominion voting machines. In the 14 counties in which Dominion voting machines were used in Wisconsin, the president got 59% of the vote.
Well, he should have got 75%. By the way, Dominion CEO said he's going to sue Sidney Powell, who's released the Kraken. That lawsuit is imminent. And it is, you know what? It doesn't matter. So you've got the machine and the hand counts. All of it lines up. What about all the dead people who voted?
In Georgia, did 5,000 dead people vote?
No, it's 2.
Were thousands of voters from out of state?
No, we have the totals less than 500. It's less than 300.
Another allegation. Were there 50,000 people who showed up to vote and were told they had already voted?
No. If there would have been, you would have heard about it from someone. You look about how many people showed up that day, that would have been 5% of every voter would be turned away. No, there were no reports of anyone being turned away on Election Day.
That's Raffensperger. That's got to be a lie, right? Somebody's lying. Somebody's stretching the truth. And a lot of that is exactly that. They'll take something they heard, and by the time it gets to somebody, they want to believe it so bad, they've affirmed it in their mind because they want it to be true, that has to be. If you think you turned away 50,000 people know that. To do something this big, if you're going to steal an election to the tunes of 15,000 votes or whatever it is, to do this in such a way, you're going to need, for it to be not noticeable, but noticeable, you're going to need several people, and that includes higher ups. What do we know about human beings? Can't keep their mouth shut. That's what you know about human beings. They can't keep their mouths shut. Inherently, they will talk. That's what they do. That's all they do is talk. Well, they'll keep it really quiet. It's Antifa. That's what I heard the other day. It's Antifa. Okay. Keep reaching. Could it be the possibility that they lost? Maybe. Could it be the possibility it was stolen? Yeah, if you prove it in court and you show it. But when you tell me 1,000 times, and out of those 1,000 times, all the evidence is flimsy or no evidence, it's hard to go back to that well over and over again, continue to go, okay, here's another chance. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Words and phrases that should be banned in 2021. We'll touch on that. Plus, new streaming service is out. Another one? Do I need it? Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're running my life, bud!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
First, we need to get a sense of their taste.
If you like the Property Brothers, Guy Fieri, Oprah, and documentaries about World War II, then Discovery Plus might be for you. The new streaming service combines all of the brand's channels, HGTV, Food Network, OWN, Travel Channel, the History Channel, and of course Discovery, and more. And it'll be the streaming home for the upcoming Magnolia Network, from fixer-upper hosts turned lifestyle brand gurus Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Welcome home.
That stinks.
Discovery says it's the largest ever content library for a new service, and it'll cost you $5 a month with ads, $7 commercial free.
5 here, 10 there, 12 here, 14 there. It starts to add up. I have way too much service. I don't know if I'll get that. I don't know. Now if they come out with a Western, I'm in. I mean, I've got so much. Like, I don't watch any of the home improvement shows because I don't care. Why do I have to fix something up? Why can't I just buy something new? I don't. But we're gonna fix it up. I don't really care. You know, I was thinking the other day, what would be really cool for a home improvement show is renovating a haunted house or like a place where there was, evil done, if you will. Totally renovating it, tearing it down, and doing a full renovation inside of that too, to ward off the evil spirits. That might be fun. Maybe I'd watch that. Maybe for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I don't care. There's always gonna be some woman's like, yeah, I wanted 4 bedrooms, not 3, and a bath with a side room, and then the guy's gonna be like, oh, I don't like this tile, and then she's like, who cares? Chad, you don't watch these? When I got older, I thought, well, imagine you like for me, I'm just so simplistic. Why do we have to build out? Can I just buy a motorhome and move in? Not there that much. I work a lot. My studio's more important. Rather fix that up. I think they got a show coming out about that, too. We got a show about everything. Fixing up everything. Everything. You name it, fixing it up. What other things can we fix up? We're fixing your ride. How about fix your airplane? Do we have that yet? Fix your boat? We have one of those? I don't know if we have one of those. God, I'm just trying to think some other things. Like, what else would you fix up? How about fix your hospital room? Oh, you know what? Here's one. Well, you can't do it today, though, because of the whole COVID. Like, grandma and grandpa in a nursing home, you could redo grandma and grandpa's nursing home facility. That'd be fun. You can go in there, you could redo it up. Now, I hope you don't die, while in the midst of it. Like, oh, they weren't around to see it. That totally sucks. But he's such a jerk, Chad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. CIA could be looking for who?
For an organization that shuns the term spy, the CIA's newest promotional video looks for all the world.
Hey, I think I found something.
Like a big-budget spy movie. The agency has posted nearly 150 jobs at its website in hopes of attracting a more diverse pool of candidates. From mundane office positions to something called a paramilitary operations officer, all the jobs require U.S. citizenship, a willingness to move to D.C., and the ability to pass security and medical evaluations.
Welcome to the CIA.
Producer Phil, you're already there, brother. So I think you need a gig, man. You need to get in there and be that guy so you can tell us all the cool stuff that goes on.
I could be that guy.
You could totally be that guy. That'd be neat. Right? Just working at the CIA? That'd be is it Quantico? Is that CIA? That's not CIA.
No, it's Langley. It's about 3 miles from here.
Langley. That's right. Dude, you're there, brother. You're there. We'll work on your resume today. It's going to be nice. But you want a spy gig. Don't be giving me I don't want to be pushing, stuff, pencils and paper. I want a spy gig. I want a gun and stuff. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And I hope Mike Pence comes through for us, I have to tell you. I hope that our great vice president comes through for us. He's a great guy. Of course, if he doesn't come through, I won't like him quite as much.
Oh. Actually, Chuck Grassley is going to be overseeing the Electoral College vote tomorrow, just to point that out. So, there you go. Wait, what? But Chuck, 87 years young, born in 1933. Let's put that in perspective. He was born 12 years before the end of World War II. Still in politics. Let you know that. And that's great. Still going, right? That's good. I don't know if you should be in politics as long as you've been a senator since 81. That's insane. But he could be the person that would oversee the presidential electoral college vote and kind of That I think for some people is going to stress them out. You know, the whole thing with Pence, right? I'm going to throw this out there. Pence is walking a weird fine line of not wanting being put in that position. I don't think in my heart, and this is just me, the people that I've talked to, one of which works with Pence, that he believes that it was stolen. I don't think he believes it was stolen the way that Trump does, the way that Trump has gone on about. And for those of you out there who say, so you think Trump's lying? I think in Trump's mind, he believes it. I think if you put him into a lie detector test, he in his heart would believe that it was. Doesn't make it so. People pass lie detector tests. But I think in his heart, he would believe it. I need evidence. I need truth. People say, you don't care about elections. You don't care. No, I care about truth. You care about the election of Trump. You're not interested in the long term. I'll tell you how real this is. Okay? If you're really worried about these elections being rigged and the integrity of the elections, we'll find out how real it is when all of these lawsuits continue and people dig for months and years after this is over and done with. Because if people don't push through, then I think it's safe to say this was more about Trump than it was actually the integrity of the election. But I don't think Pence wants to be, because I think when push comes to shove, I think Pence will vote and do the things he has to do based on who he is as a man and his conscience and his beliefs. And remember this, and I've always said this about Mike Pence. He's a Christian first. Period. He's a Christian first. He's a husband and a father second. And he's a politician third. Something to think about. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Today is the day for Georgia. They're in the spotlight. Jon Ossoff running against Perdue. Ossoff outvoting.
This is history unfolding in Georgia right now. I want to encourage everybody to be a part of it.
I think Perdue's got a better chance of winning. He's a Republican, Perdue. On the other side, and by the way, Perdue is quarantined right now. On the other side of it, you have Loeffner, who was appointed in 2019, and she's running against Reverend Warnock. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays itself out. She's got some controversy. He's got some controversy. She's definitely uber left. I mean, he's definitely uber left. She is, she's very Republican, Trump-like in a lot of ways. So we'll see what takes place. I think that is a more up for grabs than Perdue. So, and as far as polls go, I don't know what the polls really mean, because polls can be wrong. I mean, here's a perfect example. I talked to Alex Stone yesterday from ABC News. We were talking about the travel, and this year, I mean, this past holiday season, AAA and a bunch of other people thought, it's going to be about 2 million people traveling. There were like 19 million people that ended up traveling. You weren't even close. It's like, it's not even close. It's like when you're golfing and you're like, what is that, like 200 yards? Yeah. You got to go over some water. Oh, I got this. And you hit it and you're like, it's going to get there. And then you realize you barely made it to the water, let alone over it. They weren't even close. So I don't know what the polls say, because right now you've also got to throw in the mix when it comes to Georgia the fact that you've had Trump going out there talking about how everything was stolen from him, which has put a lot of things in people's minds that system can't be trusted.
Many of us Georgians have lost faith in trusting the electoral process in our state, which as a Georgian, I never thought would happen.
And a lot of people have already voted. Doesn't mean it's all going to go one direction, but a big number of people voted already.
Republicans only need to hold on to one of the 2 Senate seats that are up for election to maintain control of the U.S. Senate. Some 3 million voters in Georgia have already cast ballots in this election. That is down from this same point during the general election, but the highest ever for a runoff, and most of those votes are coming from blue counties.
But we know what? We know that on the day of, that's when the Republicans turn out. But when you hear somebody say something like, well, I feel the process is broken, and you've got other people that have gone out there who have names in Georgia and other big prominent Republicans around the country who've said, oh, the system can't be trusted. It's broken. They're going to steal it. And you've got the phone call. Well, Chad, he didn't do anything. Of course he's going to defend it. And everybody who loves Trump is going to defend anything he does, no matter what. If he tomorrow declared martial law and said, I'm not leaving as president, it was stolen from me, and we're going to suspend the Constitution, people would cheer that who love Trump. Not everybody, but a lot of people would. But when it comes to today, it matters. If you lose both seats and you're the Republicans, you lost the Senate, you don't have the House, and Biden is going to be president. He's not going to be president. He is going to be president. He is. We'll see. They pumped a lot of money in here. Republicans have pumped a ton of money in here, as have the Democrats. Over $500 million. Talked to a buddy of mine, because I do a lot of stuff with radio stations throughout Georgia, and I think a 30-second spot was going for like $2,800. Soak that in for a second. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. That being said, coronavirus still here. Not going anywhere. Continuing to see a ramp up in what's happening with the coronavirus. Now we've got like a new strain of coronavirus. And what does this mean? We've also got a failure in a lot of ways between the states and the feds about rolling this thing out. I don't even know how many are available at this point in time. Supposedly 20 million were available as far as vaccines. I don't know how many people are going to take them. I think it was, in some cases, in some states, it was 1 out of every 3 healthcare worker was not going to take the vaccine at first. Didn't say they weren't going to take the vaccine, but at first they said they may not. And then you've got California, which is struggling to the point where they're looking around and they're having to make serious decisions about when they're doing with their ambulances.
Under a new emergency policy here, paramedics will no longer transport cardiac arrest victims who they are unable to resuscitate in the field. Instead, they'll be declared dead on site. And LA City Fire Medical Director Mark Eckstein says the same will happen soon to victims of trauma. If they appear dead on scene, that'll be it.
Car accidents, shootings, stabbings, and so forth, where their heart stops.
It's because hospitals here are overwhelmed. One hospital had 19 ambulances waiting to unload over Christmas. ER wait times now up to 18 hours.
That's nuts. Still out there. Everybody's like, do you feel relieved that you tested positive for the antibodies? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know if I believe that test at this point in time. There has been a lot of stuff. And here's the other thing. Questions are slowly being asked by the media that need to be asked, that should have been asked a long time ago, about where did this thing come from for real. Even New York Magazine has what if? So you've got, a level 4 lab that just happens to be in Wuhan, where this thing originated. Now, I have never, at the beginning of this, said that this was something that was released on purpose. But is there a possibility that it escaped? Yeah. Is there a possibility that they were playing around with things? Of course. Why? Because everybody plays around with viruses like this. The whole thought process is you get in front of some stuff, you try some stuff, potentially, not for war, but to prevent pandemics. When you look at it, and this is what you're hearing more and more from epidemiologists, virologists, that are asking a question, hey, A lot of these things come from animals. We got nothing close. This thing has a little bat, a little pangolin, maybe a little civet, which is a cat. It's a serious question. Not saying there's conspiracy as far as, oh, they did it on purpose to us. No. What I am saying, though, is it a possibility? I think that's a question. And the World Health Organization, by the way, for those of you not keeping score, are starting an investigation that is long overdue. Doesn't mean we'll get anywhere. But it's funny that you can't even broach the subject about that. You can't even broach the subject of, hey, do you think that we need to ask some serious questions? No. It's racist to even do that, or it's ridiculous, or your conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that it released it on purpose. But you can ask a question, can't you? Just like when it comes to anything, whether it's aliens, and we're going to talk about the poll we have up, or whether it's voting, and whether it's rigged. You can ask questions. You have every right to. You also have to have the proof. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. If you're not, check that out. It's a great article, New York Magazine. It's a long article, and it might take you a few sittings, and we don't have patience for things that last a long time. But it's a fair question to ask. It really is. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Every court that has reviewed this matter has decided against the Republicans, against President Trump. The High Court of the United States, including 3 Trump-appointed associate justices, has ruled against or declined to take these cases. At what point do we say, okay, basta, enough? It is really pathetic that this has been dragged on so long, and it is only because of the love people have for President Trump. I think that he sincerely believes that he was gypped. But it's one thing to believe, it's another thing to prove. They have proven nothing. For what? To further divide the country? It's really pathetic.
Oh, God, Geraldo. Always been a never Trumper. Always will be a never Trumper. Chad. So many of you, though, out there believe that on the 20th of January, and, I could be absolutely wrong. We could find something. And I've never once said that there may or may not be proof. I have said there hasn't been proof to this point. Well, Chad, you're straddling the line. If I had to put money on it, if I had to bet my house, there is no proof. But he wasn't cheated. But we saw, and everything that if you believe something to be true, and in your mind, that is absolutely the truth. You believe with all fiber of your being, no amount of evidence will change or sway you. Just won't. It is not going to happen. It isn't. And that's for everything, whether it's this or aliens. I posted, and of course people got mad at me, which made me laugh because they have no sense of humor. But I think it's a very fair question. I said, what do you think is more likely? That the election was rigged or in aliens? And I laughingly said, I think you guys know my answer. Right now, aliens 34%. It was rigged 38%. Both 18.2% or neither 9.1%. At Chad Benson Show is the Twitter. Go take it there. You don't care about the election. No, I care about the election. I do. And people are like, you're an idiot because there are thousands of affidavits. Well, actually, there's not thousands of affidavits. There's eyewitnesses. There's eyewitnesses for UFOs or aliens or, things in the sky. There's absolutely witnesses for that. There is. Are one's insane and the other one's not? I think it's a fair question to ask. That's all I'm saying. You can ask that question. And if you lose your sense of humor, don't do it. But if you lose your sense of humor, That is the first part of things going south and downhill. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Big day in Georgia.
Obviously, a very important election, extremely polarizing. Hoping that the country can come back together after this and ready to move on, man. Let's get moving with life.
Connor Dunaway there. Person who's talking about the runoff. 2 seats up for grab. I think it's, to me, I'm leaning that the Democrats win both. And if one person was to win from the Republicans, and that's all the Republicans need to hold on to the Senate, I think Perdue would be the person. But I think a lot of the rhetoric that's gone on with it was stolen in Georgia from Trump has really hurt the Republicans there. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Are you trying to say that as of January 20th, that President Trump will be president?
That depends on what happens on Wednesday.
No, it
This
doesn't.
is why
I mean,
we
the
have
states,
votes.
by the Constitution, say they certify the election. They did certify it. By the Constitution, Congress doesn't have the right to overturn the certification.
Well, Congress is directed under the 12th Amendment to count the electoral votes. There's a statute that dates back to the 1800s that says that there is a right to object, there's a right to be heard, and there's also a certification process.
There is. There is a certification process. They have the right to object. The Democrats object, I think since 2000 they've objected on a few occasions. But Josh Hawley, who wants to be president one day, he's got a upward mobile fighting for the president. They're going to go out and they're going to what? They're going to, because tomorrow's a big day. And have you noticed it continues to move? The goalpost continues to move when it comes to this. So originally it was, wait till November 3rd, everybody's going to see. And I said, I didn't have skin in this game. I like some of the stuff Trump's done. I didn't like some. I was a Joe Jorgensen person. Sorry. I know people get mad about you're not a never Trumper. No, I'm not. I'm not a never Trumper. I like some of the stuff Trump's done. I don't like the rhetoric, and I can't stand the way that the media and them battle it out all the time. It gets old for me. Maybe for you guys, you enjoy it. I do like the fact that at times he pushes back on the elites. But after a while, it's just the same old crap show, and it gets boring. But I have enjoyed some of the things that he's done. I have said I like the way he's handled regulations. I like the fact that he's bringing our troops home. I enjoy the way that Trump has gone about handling some of the business that needs to be handled. I don't like a lot of the other stuff that comes with it. I don't enjoy the chaos. Some people do. Politics is already dirty enough without it getting any dirtier. And, whether people want to believe it or not, a swamp is a swamp. And if you're changing out alligators for crocodiles, and at times I felt that's a lot of what that was. And it was frustrating. But I've defended him on numerous occasions. I thought the Russia thing was crap. You can't tell me that you don't somewhat tap some lines because you think Russia's doing something into a presidential candidate's and you're the president of the United States, and your former secretary of state, who's also in your party, is running, and I mean, you can't. I defended Trump for a lot of stuff, but there's also a lot of stuff that I had issues with, and I think we should all start to learn from. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's okay to even though I vote for somebody, to hold their feet to the fire, big time, more so, and we've gotten away from that. We've gotten away from holding people's feet to the fire. Do I think Trump will be president? I do not. I think come January 20th, that goalpost will run out of room and places to go, and that's where it will settle, and then it will be Joe Biden's turn with the ball.
Now, all of the states have certified their elections as of December 14th, so it doesn't, by constitutional ways, open a door to Congress to overturn that, does it?
There's a statute that governs what Congress does on January the 6th. It says that we have a vote of certification and that we have the opportunity to debate the results, to certify the results. We count them and then we certify. And my point is, this is my only opportunity during this process to raise an objection and to be heard.
And you know what this is? This is the objection you're going to get. Does anybody here have an objection of this man and this woman being married? And you have your chance to stand up, but the guy he's in love, she's in love. You don't want to lose your pal, but the reality is he's going to marry her. It's going to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. All right, here's something. You know, yesterday I was talking about the Civil War. It's not going to be a civil war. No, there is, Chad. It's a coming civil war. It's not going to be a civil war. It's not. Now, we'll have a cultural civil war for a while. I think that's something that is more pressing than people taking to the street and going after each other. It's just that's not going to happen. It isn't. It's like we're not going to become Venezuela. It's my favorite thing. We're going to become Venezuela. We're not going to become Venezuela. You just don't know. We're going to become communist China. We're not going to become communist China. But we do have an issue when it comes to the way that we go after each other. Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad, many other things. It's very interesting what he's talking about, the cancel culture world.
You know, we live in this cancel culture of people erring and doing wrong, either on purpose or by accident. And there's less forgiveness in our world. I think we're unfortunately in a coarser environment. I think our societies have become harder and less understanding, less tolerant, less forgiving.
He's absolutely right. We don't forgive. I mean, one of the things trending yesterday was Bean Dad, this guy that kind of went viral because his daughter said she was hungry. Right? And this just shows you the chaos of cancel culture. She says she's hungry. She's 9. He says, well, why don't you make some baked beans? Brings her, she brings him baked beans and a pan. And he goes, well, why don't you cook it? She didn't know how to open it. She's 9. He goes, we're not going to eat until you can figure out how to open it. People are like, oh, he's horrible. It's bad. It wasn't horrible and bad. But that caused a stink. Well, what happened? He does a podcast with Ken Jennings. Now people are like, well, this guy's a bad dude. We've looked at his history. Ken Jennings should not have the chance to be a fill-in or potential host of Jeopardy because of this guy. And you're like, you're going to cancel somebody over somebody else? That's where we're at now? Mr. Bean, the actual Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson, said cancel culture is like a medieval mob looking for someone to burn. Absolutely true. There's no forgiveness. It's just destruction.
My question today was, where does forgiveness live in our society? Where can we accept someone's behavior if they are contrite if they are apologetic and take responsibility, isn't it possible that forgiveness plays a part in that and they are welcomed back in, as opposed to creating more fences, creating more, you're out, you're in, you make one mistake, gone.
And by the way, I'll take it further. Mistake? I didn't make a mistake. No, you took it in a way. By the way, you took something that 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago was acceptable. You've now turned it into something in modern terms that's not acceptable according to how you've taken something. And now you want to punish people for it. We see it all the time. People hold stuff for years and years and years and wait to punish them when they have a chance. Oh, this person may be big one day, and I've got a tweet, and I'm going to release that at the right time. It's nuts. And we don't want to give people second chances. We're telling everybody, hey, you know what? We need a prison reform, because when prisoners come out, they need to have an opportunity to second chance. Hey, you tweeted something 6 years ago. You never deserve a second chance.
You know, people, whether it's, you know, having an impulsive reaction to something and being frightened and doing something wrong and being ostracized for the rest of their lives or something. It's like, I think we need to take a second look at that and exhale and realize that asking forgiveness and receiving forgiveness are not weaknesses, but are human strengths.
Yeah. But we don't, because it's about the punishment. And just think about it. It's first of all, it's the internet. Secondly, it's about the punishment. I was reading something today where people are mad at Chrissy Teigen and Kylie Jenner because they've jet setted to other places during the pandemic. Why? What are you mad about? Well, I get mad when they tell you not to do something and do it. That pisses me off. I don't care if they jet set somewhere, but people are like, they should go away. They should be in so much trouble. It just shows you it's not about the offense. For a lot of people, it's about the power of punishment. Can I punish these people? Can I destroy this person? I'm outraged over something that I didn't see, but somebody told me about, and it's not about me, but I'm outraged. Can I punish them? Do you want to know where the war is going on? There is a cultural war. There is. I mean, what's the new thing now in the House? Apparently there's going to be no gender pronouns in the House. You know, we've got this bizarre situation where amen and women, you just sit back and you're like, my God, we're at this point now where we just, everything has to be to the point where it's ridiculous.
May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace. Peace in our families, peace across this land, and dare I ask, O Lord, peace even in this chamber, now and evermore. We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths. Amen and a woman.
Everything's gender neutral, politically correct. What doesn't hurt somebody's feels? What does hurt somebody's feelings? Who did you offend yesterday? Well, you offended some of these people, or some of these people took offense over it, but you don't care about them. And there's the cultural war. That's the civil war that's brewing. And it's that pendulum. And it's finding the right balance of, hey, that was a joke. And you as a person can take it in a responsible way and go, and you move on with your life. Or you could say that was meant to destroy me and hurt me, so I must do it to you. Those things I worry about more than a lot of this other crap, because that's real. I see it with my son in his school. I see it with my little brothers in his school. I see it in a lot of places, and it's popping up. Even over the weekend, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth on accident twice, said the Redskins. They go, we knew it was going to happen. We apologized for it. And people are still like, oh, we got to get rid of him. Can't win. Because somebody's always looking to get somebody, because it's not about anything other than the power of the punishment. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Mystery surrounds the medical condition of Charlie's Angels actress Tayna Roberts, who was reported to have died yesterday and then today was said to be alive. Tanya suddenly collapsed on Christmas Eve after walking her 2 dogs. Newspapers across the nation today carried reports of her death. And I was interviewing her longtime boyfriend, Lance O'Brien, when the shocking, almost impossible to believe news came in that Tanya was alive.
Now you're telling me that she's alive? Thank the Lord. Thank God.
Amen and woman on that one. That's Lance. That O'Brien guy's a character himself. So she is dead. She's not dead. He didn't know. The whole thing's weird. But yesterday we erroneously, along with everybody else, reported that she'd passed. But we're not quite sure. From what I'm hearing, she's in really bad condition. She just collapsed. Don't know. So we apologize for that. I did. It's yesterday. I was talking to somebody. I do my other show locally, and my on-air partner, he's all, hey, he goes, "Who's Tanya Roberts?" I'm like, "Oh, do you know Tanya Roberts?" He goes, "I had a poster of Christy Brinkley." I said, "So do I." Right? Heather Thomas. Oh God, feathered hair. Hello. I was a little young. I mean, I liked Farrah Fawcett, but I was a little young for Farrah Fawcett. But I liked her. But yeah, I definitely had Tanya Roberts. And I showed him a picture. He goes, "Oh, yeah, Beastmaster." I'm like, yeah, Beastmaster. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there, kids. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. The BBC highlighted last year, 2020, in a hysterical way.
Just going to show you a very special program. We've put up the highlights of 2020. Let's just have a look. It's Farewell 2020. Let's join our colleagues.
I love that. I love that. Farewell. Producer Phil?
Yes?
I need you for... Remind me what nature can do to you.
Chad, nature will mess you up.
Mess you up.
Super squirrel in action, believed to be the same critter.
And it just basically runs up my leg, and I'm like, okay, squirrel, hello, what are you doing?
That attacked Micheline Frederick.
He either bit me or scratched me on my neck, and then I must have reached over or do something, and next thing I know, it's an MMA cage match, and I'm losing.
So an MMA cage match. All right. Mix martial animal arts with this woman. Between I don't know how big a squirrel is. Apparently the squirrel is the same size as her. Pound for pound, there's no doubt in my mind, squirrel kick her butt. Pound for pound. No match. But they're going at it.
The biting and clawing, her hands were covered with blood, black and blue. As a precaution, she got a rabies shot.
I tried to shake it off, but I can't. You know, a squirrel has claws cling onto your winter jacket. There's no way you can shake it off.
At least 3 other people here on 65th Road and Drive have had similar encounters with either a single rogue squirrel or a pack.
She sped up, it sped up. She crossed the street, it crossed the street.
It was on. Obviously, she'd done something to the squirrel. Can we just, I'm not trying to victim shame. She had done something to said squirrel. That squirrel's like, you know what? I know you've been looking at my man.
They've reached out to the city for help, but were told to hire their own licensed trapper, which they did, but so far, nothing.
It's worried for the children. That's what most people are concerned about. It's the kids.
In each case, the squirrel or squirrels are the aggressors. People aren't feeding them. They're not chasing them. They're simply minding their own business.
When we have to leave the house, we have to carry Mom's homemade pepper spray to make sure, because if the squirrel comes at us, then we spray it.
Squirrel! They're dangerous, kids. They're dangerous. Be prepared to be prepared because nature will mess you up. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Again, big, huge race today in Georgia. 2 of them. Republicans need to win one of these seats. Democrats need both It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Can Ossoff and Warnock upset Loeffner and Perdue? Seems to be a dead heat everywhere I look, but we'll find out because the Republicans should make some hay today. If they don't, I have a feeling it could be very ugly for the Republicans, and they could lose 2 seats. You guys have a blessed day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.